Hey guys, what's going on? Banana 156 here with another video. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. Make sure to leave a comment. I do read all comments. But yeah, and if you dislike the video, leave a dislike. But yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about nuclear power because nuclear power isn't that bad if you think about it. So, first of all, why is nuclear power important? Nuclear power is important because it's one of the few things that I think it could become critical in making clean energy and limiting the effects of climate change. I think nuclear power could be a very important part of that. And with how bad climate change is getting, I think that we need to focus more on nuclear power and specifically the specific type of reactor I'm talking about today, because normal reactors aren't as good as this one. But yeah. So first of all, our carbon emissions are way too high right now, and if we had nuclear power, it would significantly lower the carbon emissions by quite a bit. But yeah, so what kind of nuclear reactor are we talking about? Well, first of all, you know that standard reactors are uranium reactors, and yeah, uranium has just been the standard for most of nuclear reactors' histories, but there is another element that is just as good as uranium, or not just as good, it's quite a bit better than uranium. So, you know, uranium is atomic number 92 on the periodic table. Thorium is two down, it's atomic number 90, or it's one house down, I guess, or not one house down, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so thorium, I think, is the best alternative, and yeah, I'm going to tell you why. So, thorium, first I'm going to take through all the processes of making a nuclear reactor. So the first part is mining it. So when you try and mine uranium, it releases a toxic gas that causes cancer. So that means uranium mines have to have very expensive ventilation systems, so the miners don't die. So yeah, that's not very good. When you mine thorium, it doesn't do any of that. You know, it's mined and it's just ready to go. The next thing is that uranium, when you do mine uranium, in its ore, there's a lot less concentration of uranium. So there's a lot less uranium per ore that you mine. Unlike thorium, where the concentration is much higher, and it's a lot easier to get more of it. And not just that, thorium is much more prevalent in the Earth's crust than uranium. Uranium is quite rare, as thorium is rather common. So yeah, it's a lot easier to get thorium, it's a lot less expensive to mine thorium, and it won't kill as many miners if you mine thorium. So those are all pluses, right? And yeah. But now, the next part of a uranium reactor would be enriching the uranium. So most of the uranium in Earth's crust is uranium-238, and 238 just isn't good. It's not good for reactors, it's not good for anything. So the uranium has to be enriched and purified down to uranium-235. And this is very expensive and costs a lot of money to get done, and it's just a lot of hassle to get the uranium down, and especially considering that there's a lot less uranium in the atmosphere, in the Earth's crust, it takes a lot to make that uranium usable. But with thorium doesn't need to be enriched, it's just ready to go. Thorium just comes out of the ground and it's ready to be used. Now, the next big difference between uranium and thorium is that uranium is fissile and thorium is fertile. Fissile means that uranium can create energy on its own. So, like, it doesn't need anything to help it, it just goes. Once it's, like, enriched, and after that, it just goes. But thorium isn't nearly as reactive as uranium, so it is fertile, meaning that it needs some helper. It needs it needs something to help it to start the reaction so it can create power. The traditional helper material for this is a little bit of plutonium. But yeah, now, you may see this as a negative for thorium, but when you think about it, it's a lot safer than uranium, because in a uranium reactor, if something goes wrong, uranium's just going to keep going. You can try and cool it down, you can try and do all these different things, and it just won't work because uranium's just a mad lad. He's just going to keep going. But thorium, on the other hand, and this is how most thorium reactors work, is if something does go wrong, the liquid thorium that's not very reactive just gets pulled away from the helper material, the plutonium, and then the reaction stops, so nothing else bad can happen, and there's no danger of like a 3 Mile Island or a Chernobyl if you have a thorium reactor, because thorium reactors are a lot safer. And along with thorium's need for a helper material, that also makes it extremely harder to weaponize than uranium. So that makes you feel a lot better placing them in countries with like Iraq or Iran or something. You feel a lot better placing thorium reactors down because they're a lot harder to weaponize, and the only thing that could be weaponized is the little bit of plutonium that goes with it, but that's such a minuscule amount that it's not an issue in most cases. But now, the best thing about thorium, and well, so now all of that's well and good, right? Thorium is safer, it's easier to mine, it's less expensive to mine, but as most of you know, in America we care mostly about results and not about the process. So let's talk about the results. Thorium is significantly better than uranium in results. 1 ton of thorium is equal to 200 tons of uranium, or 1 ton of thorium. The energy that 1 ton of thorium produces is equal to the same amount of energy produced by 200 tons of uranium. That is an insane amount of extra energy. And not only that, that 1 ton of thorium is also equal to 3.5 million tons of coal. So think about that. With as prevalent as thorium is in our Earth's crust and how much energy it produces, think about how much energy we could have. Everywhere would be powered at all times, and it would be much more efficient, much safer than uranium. It's just, yeah, it's much more efficient than uranium, and it's just clearly the better option than uranium, as that's what I found. And now this next part is very important because the environment is the reason why I'm making this video. So thorium and uranium, as nuclear reactors do, they produce waste. But uranium produces significantly more waste than thorium. Thorium barely produces any nuclear waste, so that means it's a lot easier to clean up, a lot less expensive to clean up, and a lot easier to get rid of than uranium. Uranium produces a significant amount of waste, which can be very expensive to get rid of, very hard to get rid of, and could linger around an area for a long time and make that area inhabitable. Or, yeah. But yeah. So, and the next thing I want to talk about is, I know your nuclear power gets a bad rap because, like, in the 1980s, there was, like, Chernobyl, 3 Mile. But yeah, as I was saying, in the 1980s, nuclear power was kind of scary because of things like Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. But with a thorium reactor, most of those things would never happen again. And yeah, if you have thorium, it's nearly impossible for an incredibly bad nuclear disaster to happen. So yeah, I think thorium is the future of nuclear reactors, and I think it is the future of clean energy. Thorium is easier to mine, more prevalent in the crust, more abundant, and doesn't need any enrichment. Is more efficient, produces less waste. I think it is just the clear-cut better counterpart to uranium, and not to mention all that, it's a lot safer and a lot harder to weaponize. So yeah, in conclusion, nuclear power isn't bad, especially if you use thorium reactors. Thorium reactors are actually quite good, and they're good energy sources, good clean energy sources, and I think they will be crucial in making clean energy the norm for the future. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. I actually really enjoyed making this video. I enjoyed science and stuff, and it was fun researching this video. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks for all the recent support on the videos. And yeah, remember, nuclear power isn't that bad. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks for all the recent support. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. I do read all comments, so make sure to leave one. And dislike the video if you disliked it. And if you disagree with anything in the comments, we can leave a comment and I'll talk to you in the comments below. And to make sure you know that I read the comments, I'll leave a heart by it. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys